A tanky titan of the forest and swamps. Let's talk about making Venusaur in Dungeons & Dragons. Hello Pokemon and D&D fans, Mimikyle here, and today we're going to be crafting a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition character inspired by Venusaur from Pokemon. This series is inspired by the work done by Tulok the Barbarian on his Building Character series, and if you enjoy this video, you should really check out his content as well. In this series, we want to create adventurers who are built with a heavy inspiration by the Pokemon in question, rather than trying to make a literal frog with a flower on its back. To make this build, we're going to use content found in the officially licensed 5th edition books, and throughout the build, we'll focus on all of the spells and features relevant to making a supreme sage of the swamp, and gloss over the less relevant abilities that we might pick up along the way. This is my personal imagining on how to create this character, and if you have a way you prefer, or want to share some helpful tips on how to make this build better, let me know in the comments below. To build our fearsome forest fighter, we're going to first want to set some goals for the build itself. First, Venusaur is impressively tanky, so we'll want to set it up with a good wealth of hit points so it can last. Second, we want to have utter control and usage of both our grass and poison types, so we want some diverse spell choices, since we aren't restricted to 4 moves. Finally, we'll want options for battlefield control and status infliction, as Venusaur are known to win through weakening their opponent, and not focusing on raw damage. For race, we're going with a Furbolg for this one, as they are massive guardians of nature, and their Speech of Beast and Leaf feature allows us to start on a path towards our natural goal. See what I did there? Moving on. With our racial choice in mind, our starting stats through the point-buy system are going to be 10 strength. We're capable, but don't need this stat much for anything. 8 dexterity. We're huge and don't move much. Agility isn't our thing. 15 constitution. We'll need it for the health pool, and it'll even out with ASI. 12 intelligence. It'll be good for the rare saving throw and roleplay checks. 17 wisdom. This is going to be our spellcasting stat, so it needs to be big. 12 charisma. Again, good for certain situations, as we are mentally strong. We'll start with our first level in Druid. We're a warrior of nature, so it only makes sense to walk this path. For proficiencies, take Nature and Perception, as you're a slow and observant type, in tune with your surroundings and aware of the danger hidden. For our first cantrips, we're going to take Poison Spray and Thorn Whip to act as our early level poison and grass type moves we can use easily. For our first level spells, we'll start with Absorb Elements, which allows us to gain a brief resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, most of which are in the vein of the not very effective types for Venusaur anyway, and with cold and fire we can say we mega evolved and gained the thick fat ability. Our next spell is Cure Wounds for some nice, naturally focused healing. The next one will be Entangle, making 20 feet of difficult terrain and allowing us to restrain weaker opponents, using our vines to control the battlefield early on. The last relevant spell for first level is Goodberry, as sprouting plant-made berries only makes sense, and who wouldn't want access to practically free food? With our second level in Druid, we gain access to Wild Shape. In truth, I only reference this because it's one of the most iconic features of the Druid, but we won't be using it much for this build, as we're mostly focused on the spellcasting side of the Druid. If you want though, right after getting Wild Shape you can become a giant frog, so go ham on some in-universe cosplay. Also with second level, we gain access to a Druidic Circle, and we're going to take the swamp variety of Circle of the Land. This circle is going to give us immediate access to another cantrip, and we'll take Shillelagh, giving us the option to use our Wisdom modifier on attacks with our quarterstaff, for the rare instances of melee we might see. Hopefully we'll have other party members to handle that, but still useful. Our last second level trait is Natural Recovery, giving us a chance to regain spell slots on a short rest. Very nice for a spell-focused build. Moving on to third level, we gain our first Circle of the Land spells, and with the Swamp Path, it gives us access to Darkness, which is nice, but not particularly Venusaur, and Melf's Acid Arrow, giving us a very Poison Sting vibe, except a Poison Sting you might actually use. Following our circle spells, we also gain some second level spell choices of our own. Look at Bark Skin for making yourself or an ally tankier through the towering power of trees, and Hold Person, letting us use Stun Spore to paralyze an opponent. At fourth level, we get our first ASI. Use it to even out both your Constitution and Wisdom. And another cantrip. Let's take Guidance, because who wouldn't benefit from the guiding words of a Forest Sage, and the 1d4 added to an ability check which comes along with them? We're a 5th level Druid now, and that gives us access to some new spells. Through our Swampy Circle, we gain Water Walk. Again, a nice spell, but not too thematic. Along with Stinking Cloud, a nice wave of poison power to debilitate our foes. We also get some third level spell choices. This time look at Plant Growth, for a bit more battlefield control and role-playing escape opportunities, along with Revivify, because any warrior of nature should aim to understand how to heal those they hold dear. At Druid level 6, we obtain the Land's Stride feature, giving us the ability to travel through most difficult terrain and foliage with no problem, and also making it unlikely that we will fall to those trying to use plants to entangle us, as we would to them. Reaching Druid level 7, we gain another set of useful spells for the arsenal. Our Swamp Circle spells are Freedom of Movement, allowing us to share our skills of evading terrain and capture with our party members, and Locate Creature, using our perception and powers of the wild to find those in our forested domain, and beyond. For our 4th level spell choices, we'll look at Grasping Vine, using our mastery over the green to further restrict the movement of our enemies in ever tactical ways. Our other 4th level spell to look at is Guardian of Nature, allowing us to take on the power of a great tree to bolster our tankiness, increase our offensive power, and further inhibit our foes' movement. Now that we're an 8th level Druid, we get another ASI, and we're going to use it to cap our Wisdom, making our spellcasting and spell choice as powerful as we can. 9th level Druids gain the last set of Swamp Circle spells. Insect Plague gives us command over a swarm of locusts who attack our enemies. We aren't a bug type, but it's not outside the realm of belief that we've made friends with the bugs of the forest, and they want to help us out. Scrying puts us at the pinnacle of our attunement with nature, showing us a person or location we are looking for within this plane of existence. For the 5th level spell choices, we'll take Contagion, as Toxic is one of the most effective and feared attacks for a reason, and inflicting an opponent with one of many diseases might make them think twice about fighting you. We'll also look at Wrath of Nature, unleashing utter destruction upon your enemies in the forest, causing more pain to them the more aspects of forestation are nearby. 10th level of Druid gives us the Nature's Ward ability, protecting us from being charmed by elementals or fae, and finally giving us the fabled poison-type immunity to poisons and diseases. We'll also take our last cantrip, Resistance, giving us the same effect as Guidance, but for our party's saving throws. 11th level gives us 6th level spells, so we'll look at Heal, which is nice for the consistent rate of recovery, acting like the move Synthesis, but for anyone you decide. We'll also snag Wall of Thorns. This one is our way to input Frenzy Plant into D&D without the debilitating personal drawbacks. With this spell, you'll be demolishing your enemy's range of movement, all the while tearing into their hit points. This truly shows anyone how powerful the grass type can be. The 12th level of Druid isn't anything too fancy, but we will take another ASI, this time focusing on bumping up our con to increase our tanky potential. Quickly scooting over to 13th level Druid, we'll snag the 7th level spell Regenerate, giving us another option for healing, and allowing us to use our viney magic to bind torn limbs together and repair them. At 14th level, we'll gain the circle feature Nature's Sanctuary, allowing us to use our awesome wisdom stat to enforce upon attacking beasts or plants that they do not want to attack us, making us a true friend, or ruler if you want to be evil, of the forest. 15th level of Druid is the level I've been waiting for since the start of this build. At this level, we're going to recreate in most powerful fashion the most iconic move of the Venusaur evolution line, Solar Beam. At this level, we can acquire the 8th level spell Sunburst, dropping a massive beam of light on a 60-foot radius around a point of your choosing. Anyone caught in that light must make a Constitution saving throw or take 12d6 radiant damage and be blinded. Pairing this attack with your battlefield control spells will no doubt display to your enemies, and your friends, why Bulbasaur was totally the best starter choice in Gen 1. With 16th level, we'll use our last ASI to cap our Constitution, because more health is always good health. For 17th level, we'll finally attain 9th level spells. Although much less thematic than Sunburst, True Resurrection is utterly roleplay busted. Being able to use your powers of the forest to bring back anyone from the past 200 years is kinda insane. And if you don't buy that Venusaur can bring back the dead, then I guess he stumbled upon a max revive. There, now it works. Have fun being God. At 18th level, we get Timeless Body, allowing us to age slowly like the great forest sage we now truly are. And hey, the Beast Spells feature gives us the ability to actually, sort of, have our adventurer cosplay as Venusaur. This feature allows you to cast some of your spells while in wild shape form, and since we've been able to become a giant frog from the start, now all we need is to put a giant flower on our back and there we go! Venusaur in Dungeons & Dragons. Faked you out. No, but seriously, although you can do this, in combat at this level, taking any damage as the giant frog will likely knock you out of wild shape. So it's fun, but not what the build is about. Almost closing out at 19th level, we'll use this chance to take the Tough feat, giving us another 40 hit points when we reach 20th level, and really taking advantage of the whole not wanting to die thing. For our capstone at 20th level, we get the Archdruid feature, giving us unlimited access to our wild shape, which, still not very relevant to our build, but in truth is an incredible tool for our kit, and hey, more use of the giant flower frog. So now that we've hit the cap on levels, let's take a look at the ups and downs of this build. We have capped off with an average of 243 hit points, which is nothing to scoff at for a spellcaster, letting us survive to hurl plants and poison at foes for many turns. On most battlefields, and especially in forests, we have many options to turn the tides of battle and manipulate the field to stop enemy movement while hurting them as they approach. Looking at flaws, there's not much bad about being a level 20 druid, and assuming we have allies, we make a good part of the team, while hard to take down. But if we find ourselves in a situation where there isn't a lot of earth and forestation to wield, we'll definitely be at a disadvantage. Maybe try to avoid aerial combat and the center of a volcano. Now, this is a very fun build, but anyone who has played a few campaigns of D&D knows that most characters don't make it to level 20, and when they do, you aren't using them for long. So I've set up 2 slight variations for lower levels. Consider them the Bulbasaur and Ivysaur builds. Since this is a single class build, admittedly, there won't be much variation here, but still some changes I find cute. Multi-class builds in the future will have more low-level variety. Taking a look first at Ivysaur, if you're playing around level 12, I'd recommend learning the 6th level spell Sunbeam. It's essentially a weaker version of Sunburst, and can act as your functional solar beam for characters around this level. Also, with your level 12 ASI/feat choice, take the tough feat, because our long-term investment in Constitution was mostly focused on our hit points, and this feat will give you more hit points for the time taken. Looking at a level 5 Bulbasaur, you definitely want to take the Moonbeam spell, to give you a strong and capable flavor text version of a low-level Solar Beam. Otherwise, the build remains fairly much the same. With all of this in mind, now you're ready to build a Venusaur-inspired druid for your next Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for when I post the next episode in the series. I want to improve these videos over time for a higher level of enjoyment all around, so any advice would be welcome. And in the vein of the build itself, if there are any thoughts you have on the way I put it together, anything it might be missing, or just anything you feel would help craft a better adventurer, don't be afraid to let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and before I sign off, here's a little teaser for our fiery friend for next time.